Have you ever finished something you've really been working on, and within about 30 seconds, your brain was already picking it apart? Like you close the laptop or you walk out of the meeting, and instead of just being done, you're already replaying it. I should have said that differently. Let me just check that thing one more time. Was that good enough? If this sounds familiar, I want to talk to you today about what is actually happening there. Because most people call this perfectionism, and I do too, but here's the thing, it's not really about the work. It's not even really about your standards. What's underneath it is something a little more personal than that. If we haven't met yet, I'm Nikki Ganjemi, and I help high achieving professionals quiet the mental overload so they can think clearly and trust their decisions again. I want to share something I don't talk about a lot, but I think it will resonate with you. When I was growing up, I was a good student, and when I brought home good grades, the kind of grades my mom was proud of, I remember this feeling inside, this warmth, like the room got a little brighter. She'd light up, and I could feel how proud she was of me, and that felt so good. But then there were other times, the times I brought home a C or a D, and my mom, who's this loving and wonderful person, would say something like, "Well, did you try your best?" And I'd say, "Yeah, I did." And she would say, That's all that matters." And logically, that's a great thing to say. That's good parenting. But here's what I noticed. Even as a kid, it didn't land the same way. That feeling of really making her proud, it just wasn't there. And of course, it wasn't if I brought home a C or a D, but something very quiet, very subtle started happening. I stopped just working to do well, and I started working for that feeling, that good job, pat on the back, that moment of, I did it. I'm enough. And here's why I'm sharing this with you. So many of the high achieving professionals that I work with, attorneys, executives, physicians, business owners, are still working for that feeling. They just don't know it yet. They're not slacking. They're not second guessing themselves because they're incompetent. They're actually exceptional at what they do. But the mind learned something a long time ago. Push harder and you'll get there. Get it right and you'll be safe. And for a long time, that strategy works beautifully. It gets them there until the day it stops producing clarity and starts producing pressure instead. You can be doing well, genuinely well, and still feel like you're behind. You can finish something, do it well, and still not feel done. That's not a productivity problem. That's not even a time management problem. That's perfectionism, doing what it was designed to do. Protect you from feeling that feeling of not being enough. So when I say perfectionism is a protection strategy, this is what I mean. It's your mind's way of helping you avoid criticism, avoid judgment, avoid the feeling of getting it wrong, and maybe, most importantly, avoid that old familiar feeling of doing something and not getting the response you needed. The problem is that over time, it costs you. It costs you time. It costs you energy. It slowly costs you relationships. And it costs you something more subtle, but maybe more important than all of these. And that is self-trust. Because no matter how much you do, it never quite feels like enough. And the more that repeats, the more it starts to feel like, this is just who I am. This is my perfectionism. But here's what I know, and this is the thing I want you to actually take with you today. It is not who you are. It's something your mind has learned to do, and anything that's learned can be interrupted. So let me give you two small things you can actually use this week. The first one is a language shift. Instead of telling yourself, this has to be perfect, try, this is good for now. Not forever, not final, just good for now. That phrase creates space. It lets you move forward without needing everything to be fully resolved. You can still come back to it, you can still improve it, but for now, you're done. The second one is about how you relate to the pattern itself. Instead of saying, my perfectionism, which makes it part of your identity, try something like, there I go again, doing that perfectionism thing. It sounds like a small difference, but what it does is create just enough distance to remind you, this is a pattern I learned. It's not who I am. And when you can see it as a pattern instead of a personality trait, something starts to shift. So here's what I'd love for you to notice this week. Where are you holding on to something, revising it, replaying it, hesitating on it, when it's already good enough to move forward? Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is decide. Done. If you've been recognizing yourself in any of this, the internal pressure, the replaying, the feeling that good enough is never quite good enough. That's exactly the kind of thing we explore in a Clarity Catalyst session. It's a focused one-on-one conversation where we get underneath the pattern, look at what's actually driving it, and figure out what would allow it to shift. The link to apply is in the description below, and if this video landed for you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear this today. I'll see you in the next video.